every single Friday from the hours of 5 to the hours of 6. We're already in the house. My name is Urban Brown onto the site of Elkem TV. Alongside my panelist is already on the panel, and we're going to be talking about various stories that have actually made a wave all over the week. Meanwhile, once again, just allow me appreciate you for having joined up at the show. And you always know that whenever we come to the show, we actually come on set with stories that have happened in the week, and we also get into deep. We dig deep into these stories and see that you get to know what is exactly thing that is actually happening onto our nation and what is actually going on. Meanwhile, I appreciate you once again, and it is a very beautiful week, and the 29th day of this very month of March, year 2024. And whoever's actually kept supporting us all the time, you're always tuned to our shows. I actually appreciate you for always being onto the set and loving this particular show with me, Urban Brown, and the panelists that I always bring onto the set. Meanwhile, just let's move into a short break, and when we come back, I'll be giving my scrutinizer in the house to also have a word for the viewers of Elkem TV, and afterwards we shall be actually dredging deep into the stories.
Mchara,
why to
Madina Education Center olirabye?
Madina Education Center isomero muno. Aho kale likusikiriza muno owenkonki onu no hagenda kutandikira kusoma
aja to mwana achayonka
arayonka nasoma kandi nkugenda nokuzala yaba basomera hanu Madina Education Center.
Madina Education Center ngo yo olabye Madina eyo Middle East eso liri wano nyakipe Masindi kafu.
Madina Education Center isomero ndigondeze abaiki then primary school in a nursery section amuna daycare section but irexi kala bana barahuraga harume byo kusanisa nkatoys enungi muno
ate primary section nayo yamulembe nnyo abasomesa batendeke bulungi classes zesize nyini metron wali dormitories nungi zirimu n'emifaliso actually emifaliso bitabo kalamu wamu ne peni byonna bisangawo y'okusomero bya bwerere balina ne school van ey'okutambuza abaana.
Madina Education Center liri ha musinga gw'obusiramu bayitu tebakusorora dini n'abakristayo bakutangirwa school fees nizisoboka okwehandikisa ku kugenda omaiso aisomero eri kusangibwa Nyakibete mairo 3 okuruga Masindi town ha Masindi Kafo road bateirona special class y'okukwata ku ruhano mutwe kumanya ebikusinga otera hasimu 0 atanu na munana asatu na ibiri nkaga na mwenda rundi 0 kienda na ina asatu na mukaga 0
Once again, welcome back from that commercial break. My name is Urban Brown. Once again, I appreciate you for having actually. Once again, you're welcome. My show is called Agafiire Wiki every single Friday from the hours of 5 to the hours of 6 onto the site with a number of scrutinizers in the house actually trying to dredge us deep into the stories that have happened to the week. Meanwhile, let me just give an opportunity, my scrutinizer or the news analyst in the house also have a word for the viewers of Elkem TV, or have a word, greet you viewers, and then we proceed with actually what has brought us onto the site. Mr. Kangao, you're most welcome onto the set of Elkem TV, and I employ just to have a word for the viewers of Elkem TV, and then we dig deep into the stories of what has actually made wave onto this very week.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Moderator, for this wonderful opportunity. It's always a pleasure to be here, digesting a few items that have really made the big headlines throughout the week. And let me also take this opportunity to send my greetings to Doreen Banura from Kirasa, Kampala, wherever you are, but also to thank and send all my greetings to the entire business community from Masindi district.
Okay, thank you very much once again, Mr. Kangao, yesterday for actually having joined us onto the show. Meanwhile, it's so unfortunate that I expected to be having Guchwaki, Yosam Guchwaki from New Vision onto the set, but it's unfortunate that it's not yet in place. But in case he comes through, he will be joining at the show. Right now, I still have Kangao Yeseri, and we'll be proceeding with the show. All I beg, just keep tuned, and you see, actually get to know what is actually happening in the world. If you missed up with the news, we're actually going to give you the reality and give you what is actually happening in the nation. I implore you to get onto your YouTube app, type the word Elkem TV, subscribe and put on the bell, and don't forget to write your comment about this particular show. What is your view about what we are going to discuss? Keep following the show, and I appreciate you. Keep locked. Meanwhile, the week has actually been very, very long, and the number of things, the number of stories that have made rounds all over the week. I would just I just pray you to allow me bring you deep into the stories, give you headlines, and then away from there we shall move in for a break. And when we come back for a break, we're actually getting deep into the stories. This very, very week in Masindi, we actually had a story on Tuesday that was Masindi Central Division trying to educate the PDM beneficiaries on how to actually spend the PDM funds after there been actually a number of complaints on how people that got the money utilized it in unfair ways. They actually taught them on a number of things on how they should utilize this money. They talked of piggery, they talked of poultry. A number of things are actually brought on set or taught to the people that actually attended this very meeting, and we pray that whatever thing that they studied about be of value to them, and they actually get to implement the real thing. And away from there, this very week, we actually had another story making wave or making rounds all over the country. Actually, we saw His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the president of the nation, that is Uganda, actually launching the first Islam bank in Uganda. This was done on Wednesday at Kololo, yes, at the State House that was in Kololo. The bank that was opened up is called Islam Bank, and it's basically based on Muslims, that I think it's going to be of Sharia law. It's of a pleasure, and once again, the Muslims have been responded to after actually requesting this for a while or for a span of time. Away from there, we also had another story whereby His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni pledged to actually pardon to some opposition supporters that were actually apprehended during the election time. That was in year 2021, where there were a lot of violations on streets, burning tires, a number of things, and people were actually arrested. And recently, after electing Balam Barugahara Waon from Masindi as a minister for children and youth affairs, he actually intervened and talked to the president. Meanwhile, we see the president also vowing to actually accept the release of these the NUP supporters that are actually in the custody. Meanwhile, there was in regard to this very story, there was a precaution actually coming out from the president. The president said that it will actually be hard for him to actually release those ones that are committed capital offense. When we talk about capital offenses, we mean people that did those big crimes like murder and everything that happened within that eve. For those ones, it will actually be hard. But for the ones that will be released, that is actually very good. And we appreciate His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for actually having that kind of parental heart. Meanwhile, away from there, we also see that His Excellency Yoweri, away from there, we also see that there is also a bill that is actually pending, but I think anytime it will be before the Speaker and being discussed upon by the legislators. We see local leaders actually to get salary enhancement. We expect these local leaders, that's when we talk about the local leaders, we mean LOC 1 to LOC 5. These people were actually promised to make actually an increment on their salary basing on what looking way back from what they've actually been getting. It's of a pleasure, and it's actually a very good idea coming in from one called it's called Magezi. Yes, it's called Magezi. It was brought onto the attention by Minister, that is Magezi, the Minister for Local for local governments. Yeah, that is it. And actually, that's some of the headlines that I've actually gotten this week. And all I employ is just keep on to the side and just allow me move into a short break. And when we come back from the break, we shall actually be dredging deep into the stories that I've actually talked about, what has happened into this very, very week. Keep locked and don't get away. Let's get back shortly from our break.
Mukyala
waitu
Madina Education Center olirabye?
Madina Education Center isomero muno mugenya karoraho kale likusikiriza muno owenkwonki onu nohagenda kutandikira kusoma
Ajati omwana akyayonka
arayonka nasoma kandi nkugenda n'okusala y'abandi basatu nabo basoma hano Madina Education Center
abafe Madina Education Center ng'otuuseeyo olabira ddala Madina eri eyo Middle East naye essomero lya Kibezi Masindi Kafu Road.
Madina Education Center isomero ndigondeze lyabojera abayisikidde na boarding primary school baina nursery section hamuna daycare action batirexika alabana barahumuraga harume byokusanisa nka toys enungi muno
ate primary section nayo ya mulembe nnyo abasomesa batendeke bulungi classes zezirize nnyini metron wali dormitories nnungi zina emifaliso actually emifaliso bitabo kalamu wamu ne peni byonna obisangayo somero bya bwerere bayina ne school van eyokutambuza abaana.
Madina Education Center liri ha musinga gw'obusiramu bayitu tebakusorora dini n'abakristayo bakutangira school fees nizisoboka okwehandikisa kugenda omaiso isomero eri kusangibwa Nyakibete mairo isatu okuruga Masindi town Masindi Kafu Road bateirona special class yokukwata kuruhano mutwe kumanye bikusinga otera hasimu 0-4-5-8-3-2 rundi 0-3-2-9-0.
Once again from that commercial break, my name is Calamity, and whoever's just joined us right now, thanks for actually joining us onto the site of Elkem TV. It's always every single Friday from the hours of 5 to the hours of 6 where we bring you the news roundup, or actually bring you what has happened into the week and dredge it deep to get to actually let you know what is actually making rounds all over the country, what is just in your country as well. You know, we actually later on, I've just taken you through the headlines or the stories that have actually made headlines all over the week. Meanwhile, just allow me, as we're dredging deep, just allow me begin right here from our local stories, that is in Masindi, with my analyst in the house. You know, Mr. Kangao, once again, thanks for coming through and being live onto the set of Elkem TV. We actually this week saw Central Division, that is the Masindi Central Division leaders actually trying to educate a number of beneficiaries that are likely to benefit, and those ones who later on benefited from PDM funds. Meanwhile, they actually taught them a couple of things, but basing like a journalist, do you see that what they studied about? They talked about poultry, piggery, goat rearing, a number of things. Do you see that these people, in case they are given this money, will they be able to actually implement the very knowledge that these people impacted in them?
In the first place, I want to appreciate the government of the Republic of this country, Uganda, for fulfilling their mandate. In the Constitution, it gives the president a very big responsibility of making sure that the citizens actually get rich. He's supposed to be so creative, he has to look ahead and try and see how to improve on the standards of living of its own people. Now, over the years, the president has always been so good at this. He has come up with many programs. Like, for example, you've heard of the thing of the programs for the youths?
Like the
myoga,
yes,
the circles,
yes,
for women.
Many of them, yes.
Even when it comes to, for example, to agriculture, we've had stuff like NADS.
Yes.
We have stats. So all those programs are intended to fulfill that constitutional mandate of the president to improve on the standards of living of the people of Uganda. Now, when it comes to a PDM. This is the latest one we have.
That is the parish development model.
Exactly. Now, I am so happy that now they are investing a lot into educating the people first. Now, that is important because the boundary between success and failure is so faint that it's invisible sometimes.
It is true.
For example, it is easier to cross from parish development model to prison development model. Because if you don't educate the people on what the government is expected of them, how to use the money, as soon as they get the money, they're just going to eat it.
It is true.
So instead of parish development model, they end up into, they go to prison
yes.
development model. So that day, they did a very wonderful job at the Central Division. I saw a big coalition of efforts. I saw the assistant town clerk. He was there. I saw the boss of the Central Division, the chairman, LOC3.
LOC3,
He was also there. And then also, of course, the man himself, the agriculture officer. And that is Mr. Richard. He did a very good job in educating people, and people seemed, they did it in the local language, Runyoro. So it seemed to me like this time round we are going to harvest some very good results. And I mean, the projects they were talking about, these are the projects the local people they are familiar with. For example, piggery. Yeah. So many people know that there is a lot of money in piggery. Though some have some feelings here, religious complications here and there.
One more time, I want us to see that later on, as PDM was actually introduced in our country, Uganda, it actually came up with power. We saw that it was one of the best ways that the parliament or His Excellency, the president, had come out that would actually fight poverty in the country. But you find that for these people to access the money, they're actually told to make groups. And when these people make groups, you find that people have actually gotten different mindset.
Yeah.
You find you would wish to actually do like poultry or piggery or whatever, and your colleague in the same group is actually already having an investment, only that he needs this money maybe to add on the business or whatever thing that he's doing. So don't you see that at a certain point, much as they give out to this money, there is how these people in the circle contradict, me, I'm doing this, me, I'm doing this. At the end of the day, you find that the set goal has not been achieved.
Yeah, and that's why even in the speech, they were emphasizing, they were actually talking about that. There was need for the group to harmonize so that people are not contradicting each other. For those that actually, in for example, one group, they were telling them that they were asking them, what project are you going to work on? And then it was them actually to what? To come up with the idea. They said, for example, we are specializing in poultry. For example, we are specializing in piggery to avoid problems like that, because actually from the time when PDM first came, those were some of the issues that were preventing progress.
Okay.
But this time around, I am really optimistic that something good is going to come out.
Okay.
Though there are still some internal challenges, as I was still telling you that much as some look at piggery as a very lucrative project, it has a lot of money if handled with care, but there are still stumbling blocks like religious feelings. Some, for example, who are Muslims might view that as not their choice, and that is why they have put also the other options. Maybe can you look at poultry? Can you look at goat rearing? Can you perhaps specialize in produce? So that day, a lot actually was covered. And you know, there is also something that the chairman highlighted that day that I really loved. The parish development model, it is actually, when you look at the money they are giving out, it is intended to help a peasant, someone who doesn't have money.
It is true.
But then how about a scenario like what the chairman LOC3 highlighted, Honorable Bongomin? He highlighted a scenario where, for example, someone was rich in the past, but after some time things didn't work, he didn't fare well financially, and then he lost his money. So he is staying in a very lucrative big house, which on first sight suggests he's rich. And yet, inside there, the man is dying of poverty. Now, when he comes, he wants to join the circle. Some members actually were struggling. Yes, they were like, come on. This one is money. Look at his house. Look at all this. Look at all that. But the chairman highlighted and said, realistically, if this guy's wealth dwindled and he's now among the poor people,
it has no problem to actually come back and intervene.
Groups should...
Mr. Producer, I employ you to do with that clip so that the viewers of Elkem TV can actually have a look on what actually happened on that very day. As we're still progressing onto this very story, we actually gotten a number of stories, actually a number of complaints that have actually been coming out of from the people that were given the money. You find that the number of complaints coming out, or that when we visited this one, we found that what we expected him or her to do, was not the real thing that this person did. Don't you see that these things may actually repeat themselves once again?
No, the chairman highlighted some of those challenges really well, that he remembers the time when they hosted some government officials from I think Kampala, and then they came to do the monitoring, and then they would reach on people's homes. They are asking them where are the projects, and do you know, some of them, they were lying. They were again borrowing other people's projects, which are not even connected at all to PDM, and then they were going to show that these are mine. And then others, they were even having scenarios where someone is taken, someone comes, he asks for the money, he's given it, he lies or she lies, like the example he highlighted from Kijura of this woman from one group that I will not mention the names. He comes to the group, he gets the money, he lies, she was actually a woman, she lied. She was going to do a specific project, and when she went, she just set up a bar. She set up a bar at the end of the day, and even the bar didn't even fare well. Then much later, then when she heard now they are looking for her for accountability, where are the projects, she just took off.
Maybe still onto this very story, we've seen that His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has actually put in a lot of effort, actually trying to improve on people's standards of living. But we see that from the people that have actually gotten this money, there is no, basing on the survey that I've actually done, there is no any kind of positivity that is coming out of the investments that these people are doing. Do you see that afterwards, maybe later on when they start getting through or investigating about this money they're giving out, won't actually people end in prison? Because you see, if somebody is given money to do something different, at the end of the day, when he reaches there after getting the money, you find them the mindset actually changing from actually what he was supposed to do. You find him or her doing something different.
No, I'm very hopeful and very optimistic. You see, this program that the president has brought of PDM, did you know, if properly executed, properly implemented, it has a big potential of improving the standard of living of the people, really, like 100%. But just as you have highlighted that you have seen a lot of the program lacking here and there, it is true, and this is the reason from the way I view things. Every program, every project, when it is coming for the first time, it has to struggle.
It is true.
Whether it is a business, whether it is what adventure,
yes.
it first struggles. But when you give it time,
Yeah.
you let the people make mistakes, but they learn from them. After some time, we shall see, indeed, Uganda perhaps moving even to the middle income status. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
So let's give it time, and let's give also the local leaders to keep on working at a close range with these beneficiaries. Now, like for example, once such sensitization keeps on going on, which is aimed at helping the people to see the do's and the don'ts, it is taking us in the right direction. Like for example, there in that same meeting, I saw they were advising them, each group, to come up with someone who would help, who would help in monitoring, but also help in even looking for the market.
It is true.
Of what that particular group is working on. Like, for example, this person can be a go-ahead. They were abbreviating him. They were calling him a CBF. Yeah, he's supposed to be a mediator between the group and then the market. He's the one, for example, supposed to look in town who is looking for our products. He says, you know what? For example, we have chicken. We are dealing in poultry. How many eggs so far do we have? Maybe we have 500. How many trees do we have? What is your need? And then he comes and he helps to bridge that gap. You see, such brilliant ideas from the government.
It is.
I feel it is going to work.
Actually, that is also interesting. Once again, viewers of Elkem TV, I appreciate you for keeping following onto actually keeping your eye on Elkem TV and actually loving this particular show with me, Aban Brown, and my analyst, that is Kangao. Yes, sir, we're still pushing on. And once again, I want to appreciate the government for actually having had that kind of initiative. I'm so optimistic. What actually the division leaders did was so interesting and is actually one of the best ways that these challenges that have been going rounds will be curbed. And you see that now the money will no longer be wasted. It's going to be doing the reuse that these people are actually giving out for. Meanwhile, I appreciate you for actually having that kind of mind. Away from that story that actually happened from Masindi, we move away from the second story. Let's first have the clip of what happened there, and then afterwards we shall actually be going for the second, actually for another story. Let's have a look at the video. Okay, once again, that is actually the clip of what happened onto the very scene of at the meeting. What was there? I think you've actually looked at what was there. A population was quite huge, but we're so optimistic that all of them will get the funds and they will use them for great use. Away from there, we're moving on to the second story. This very week, we actually saw His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni launching the first Islam bank in Uganda, the first of its kind, because we have never had any Islam bank in the country before. And it's actually named Salam Bank, and it actually be that support not only Muslims but also some other religions. Everyone will actually be able to access funds from this financial bank. And onto that very day, we saw Hajat Namiaro also further appreciating His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for the support of for this financial support is actually given to Muslims. My panelists in the house, I want us to actually talk briefly about this story. We have seen actually His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni this time around launching the Salam Bank that Muslims and other people have actually been waiting for a span of time. Do you see do you see any kind of improvement being made in regards to financial solutions in regards of this bank coming in?
Yeah, absolutely. In many ways. For example, number one, the president, quoting some points from what the president said, he said at the moment Uganda, we are having 48 million people. Now that's quite
a big number.
Yeah,
yes.
a populace
Population.
compared to the space we have in the country. Now, if you are a business person and you have that market base of 48 million people, that is really wonderful.
That is true.
And he also assured them that in a range of, say, 27 years from now,
Yes.
the estimated population in the country will be over 100.
100, yes.
I think he said 106 million Ugandans.
Yeah.
Now, if that was to go like that, that Islamic banking is going to do well. It is going to fare. But also the other thing that I want to mention is that also we as Ugandans, I think we badly need the Islamic bank here. Why? Because of its benefits. For the first time, we are going to have a bank which is not money-minded. It doesn't focus on interests. At the moment, almost every bank we are having, it just survives on interest.
Interest, it is true.
And even we are having some banks that are just extorting people. They give you a loan.
But when the interests are very high.
Very high. Some 10%, some 15%. When you look at, for example, even the local money lenders, theirs is even worse.
It is around 15 and above.
Some of
15%.
some of them even 20%.
It is actually something so huge.
I am telling you, when you talk in percentage like that, it may not show how big the problem we are having. But those percentages, 10, 15, 20, 17, that's a lot of money that Ugandans are struggling with. And in fact, in the end, no wonder so many Ugandans are losing a lot of property. Don't you travel? How many times do you travel? And on just a single road, you see that big word written on buildings. Bank property.
Bank property, yes.
Property for sale. Bank property. People are losing money.
But on the other hand, as we proceed, don't you see that the coming in of Salam Bank, actually there couldn't be any kind of a clashing whereby these other banks, other institutions, financial institutions may actually look for the ways of outcompeting the Salam Bank, because they've been making interest, and then the bank has actually invaded in, and for them they don't do what? They don't look at the interest. All they do is like, if they give you 500,000, you still return back 500,000. Where there's no any kind of interest. Don't you see that all the customers, all the clients that these other banks have been having are going to run away and go to Salam Bank? And at the end of the day, these other people has its business. These also people look for resolutions to look all other ways to see that they have actually outcompeted this Salam Bank. Well,
that's a very good thought. But for me, I want to be a people person. I don't want to stress myself to see how banks are going to suffer with that. We have suffered a lot.
It is true.
It is time for us to enjoy the nice services of this Islamic banking. And besides, I am very sure competition is also sometimes good for the final consumer.
It is true.
Don't you think like that? Like, for example, I remember a few years ago, I don't remember the exact year, when mobile money came, it disturbed the banking systems here.
It is true, yeah.
And in fact, they panicked. They found a way of trying to kick mobile money away. But did you know, after some years, they realized also mobile money is unkickable.
Yes.
And for some reason, they just found someone to cooperate with it.
With the mobile money, yes.
And did you know, right now we have mobile banking.
It is true.
So they found a way of working together with it. And somehow, still in the end, it is the final consumer that benefited.
Now, that is actually a very good idea and example. But don't you see that from actually me, I'm so worried about, I'm seeing that anytime there's some other financial institutions that may collapse basing on to the invasion of this new bank. Because you see, they've been making interest on a very big range. But currently, due to this invasion of this new bank, you see that there is a kind of threat, there is kind of fear that these people are actually getting in today to actually give out their money, there is that kind of fear I'm seeing that these people are going to actually face. And at the end of the day, they may end up actually withdrawing find banks collapsing. This is what actually I'm seeing in future time.
There is a lot of mixed feelings on that because we don't want any bank to collapse. Why? Because they are also paying a lot of taxes. And we need the taxes for the development of our country.
Let me give you an example. If you looked at Salam Bank, is actually based on the Muslim religion, and when you look at Centenary Bank, is for Catholics. Yes. Now, I want you to give me an example, or give me a highlight, because do you want to tell me that being a Catholic, I'll go to Centenary Bank where they're actually deducting an interest from me, and fail to go to the other one that is for Muslims where there is no interest? I'll be taking back the same money. This is where I'm actually seeing that any time there could be collapsing of any bank. It could not. I'm not meaning Centenary, but any other bank can collapse.
Well, that's one very good point you have highlighted. I was going to talk about it in a few minutes. That with much as it is branded Islamic banking, anyone, Muslim or non-Muslim, you are welcome.
See,
they will serve you. Just like the way it is with the Centenary Bank or any other religiously founded bank. Whether you're a Muslim, you can still have an account there. You can do your business with them. Now, this time around, me, myself, I am not feeling pity for these banks. Why? Because if they collapse, then it means they have been actually extorting us a lot. It's true. Only those that are extorters, those that will collapse.
Okay.
And in the long run, that is a benefit for me as the final consumer. So if they collapse, then I go with this Islamic banker who is not extorting me. You go, you get a loan, you go work, but you share the profits only.
I understand.
There is nothing like interest thing with the way we have been struggling with them. So again, let's just watch the space and see what happens. But I am Team Islamic Bank. I'm telling you, as soon as it starts, I can access one. I will go and open up an account right away, and I look forward to getting loans.
Thank you very much, and actually, that is a very beautiful ideology. And once again, I want to actually appreciate His Excellency, the President of this nation, this is Uganda, for actually having accepted Islam Bank to come in. We actually see a lot of actually development coming up, actually, for having received this bank in our country. It's of a pleasure, and we appreciate His Excellency for that. Whoever is actually watching Elkem TV, once again, I want to appreciate you for staying tuned. And whoever's actually joined us, thanks for catching up with the show. I implore you to go on your YouTube app, type Elkem TV, subscribe, and put on the bell. Don't forget to actually write your comment about this particular show. What is your perception towards what is happening in the country today? What is your perception towards what we're actually talking about today? You could be having a different mind. You could be having an ideology. I'll be reading it right away as we actually winding up this very show. So meanwhile, the stories are still more, but as we still proceeding, we actually see His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni pledging to pardon to the request that was made by Minister Balaam Barugahara to actually release the jailed NUP supporters that were actually arrested during the election time. Don't you see that somehow, somewhere, there is how it is actually going to disturb Ugandans? Because these people, to be jailed, they actually did some very, very, very bad things to the country. People were harmed, people were done what? A lot of things were destroyed in Kampala. Businesses collapsed due to these very elections. And people felt comfortable when these people were in prison. So them coming out, don't you see it like a threat or anything that could happen to the country?
Well, it has been sufficient time since they put them in jail. I think they have learned. I feel it has been enough time. Let them release them if they can. And if especially for those that joined because of excitement, they have learned. They have left their wives, they have left their families, they have left their children. How many times have we seen the families of their victims when they are lamenting, they are begging for the president to show them mercy, because life is not easy.
It is true.
This is something they went into unprepared for. It's not that they were traveling abroad that they first left them with lots of money
Maybe
to survive.
To add something on this very story, we actually saw His Excellency, the President, saying that he has actually pledged to release them, but these people should confirm that there's no any kind of harm or anything crazy that they're going to do when they come back from prison. You have to confirm that there is nothing crazy that these people will do when they get out of prison.
Well, that becomes very tricky, because there are two things. You know, there are two or three things that always make people mad. Number one, religion. When it comes to religion, someone's feeling, I'm telling you, people lose temper. They are willing to die because of faith. Also, when it comes to something called rulership or governance, I think when it comes especially to men, that is a topic that is embedded in the hearts of people. So, yeah, let them ask them if they are willing, if they are reformed, as I've said, let them please pardon them. They have been there, they have spent there a lot of time in jail, especially for those that have not been convicted, but they're just there.
Maybe
let them release them.
Yes, maybe lastly, I want us onto this very story. I want us to still look at this that has the supporters of NOP, or as NOP as a party. Don't you say that the release of these people from prison, that is how it's going to add more power or make NOP more powerful compared to how it has been? Because earlier on, seeing from the year 2021, after losing the elections, these people have actually been struggling with life here and there. You know, life has not been so easy for them. Like, they look like they are going to collapse. They have actually had a number of wrangles within themselves. Don't you say that the coming back of these people from prison, it is how it's going to actually degenerate, or actually, give more morale, or actually empower the party of NOP to actually become more powerful compared to how it has been?
Well, in a way, yes, but also in a way, not. How? Because, like, as you have put it, since they jailed those NUP supporters, you've seen that the NUP as a party has been complaining so much. You've even been seeing they have been even boycotting Parliament because of that. They feel justice and human rights have been violated. And you know, actually, when it reaches and touches human rights, then it paints our country badly.
It is true.
On an international scale.
It is true.
If the international community learns that there are people in jail, why? Because of their political ambitions, because of supporting Bobby Wine, then that paints our country very bad.
Like humiliation and whatever. Yes.
Yeah, you know what that means? It means that it may sound as if we are having a dictatorship. A
dictatorship
here in the country. So I feel like when they show them that mercy, they leave jail. Then somehow our image can get clear.
It is true, and
after all, even in the constitution, of the Republic of Uganda,
yes,
it gives our president the ability to release even those that have been convicted. Convicted that
it gives the president the powers to release.
Yes, to forgive. They call it in law prerogative of mercy. Yeah. So that's why every year, if you've been careful,
yes,
I think around June, around July, every year.
Every year. I think even last year, I saw some officials that were even arrested for corruption and whatever. We had one that is recent.
Yes.
The former district engineer that was arrested. He was also forgiven during that very eve of last year.
Yeah. So, but the president does that every year. basing on what on the authority,
absolute power that he has gotten
right from the Constitution.
Yes.
So if he can forgive a convicted person, how about this one? They are holding in jail without even conviction.
Now, this one actually drives me to the international community, like you've been saying. Earlier on, we have actually been seeing a number of things happening on social media platforms and wherever, people blogging, speaking a number of speculations all over, saying that His Excellency Yoweri, the president, is a dictator. But having actually done this, don't you actually see that it actually moves back to the people, the speculations that were going around, that this guy is a dictator, and at the same time, vice versa, empowering NRM government, because actually having forgiven these people, that is how people that have been in oppositions will actually have a view towards the ruling party. And you find that maybe in 2026 elections, His Excellency, the President, having more clout compared to the one that he had in 2021.
Yeah, yeah, that is very true, because every time you see, that's the purpose of opposition. It is supposed to be an alternative government. It is supposed to come up with ideas so that the government can keep on comparing. Okay, if these guys, what are they saying? Okay, we would be doing like this. So that then it can even implement some of their ideas if they are better. So when it comes, for example, to our opposition, it has always kept the government in check because that is their constitutional mandate. Now, when it comes to releasing, since those boys and those girls got jailed for supporting Bobi Wine, I am telling you, it's as if the government gave the opposition now a talking point. Every time you see them, they host them on H shows.
Actually where they
always
basically talk. There's nobody that leaves the studio minus talking about this.
How about our people in jail? How about our people in jail?
But actually, this one having been done, don't you see that in 2020, do you see actually NOP as a party existing in 2026 elections?
Yes.
After His Excellency has pardoned to this, and the viewing that people are actually going to have towards the ruling party, do you see the existence as the NOP party in 2026 elections? Because currently, onto the opposition parties, we there also clashings between the FDC party, where the Nyakana Nkumbi and the rest, and currently we're seeing that NOP, His Excellency, releasing NOP supporters. What is actually, I talked about the viewing that people will be having. Now, basing on that, previously in 2021, we saw his Bobi Wine having so many people behind him. Don't you say that it may perish even before 2016? 2026, sorry.
Well, let's watch the space and see. But in life, every step you make, every decision you make
is a lesson.
Has two sides. It has the good side
and the bad side.
It has the bad side. I think that's what one scientist, I think we call him Newton, that's what he said in one of his laws of motion. He says that action and reaction are opposite and equal. There is, every time you do something, expect positive, the good to come out and also the bad. So let's see. When he releases them, let's watch the space and see. Come 2026, how will it affect the environment, the political environment, or even for some, in the discretion of the president, that he will judge that these ones can't leave jail. Let's also see. Let's watch the space and see how it affects everything.
Actually, that is it. Once again, our viewers of Elkem TV, thanks for being on the show. My name is Gilamiti. We're actually trying to dig deep into these stories that have actually made rounds into this very week. Meanwhile, just allow me to take you back into a short break, and when we return, we shall actually be proceeding with the last stories, and we get out of here.
Mukyala
waitu
Madina Education Center olirabye?
Madina Education Center isomero muno mugenya karoraho kale likusikiriza muno owenkonki onu no hagenda kutandikira kusoma
ajati omwana akyayonka
arayonka nasoma kandi nkugenda nokuzala y'abandi basatu nabo basomera hano Madina Education Center
abafe Madina Education Center ngotuseeyo olabira ddala Madina eri eyo Middle East naye esomero liri wano Kibezi, Masindi Kafu Road.
Madina Education Center isomero ndigondeze abajuna abaisiki dena boarding primary school section hamuna daycare section batirexi kalabana barahumuraga harume byokusanisa nka toys enungi muno
ate primary section nayo ya mulembe nnyo abasomesa batendeke bulungi classes zisize nyini metron wali dormitories nungi zirimu n'emifaliso actually emifaliso bitabo kalamu wamu ne peni byonna bisangayo ku ssomero bya bwerere balina ne school van eyokutambuza abaana.
Madina Education Center liri hamusinga gw'obulamu bayitu tebakusorora dini n'abakurisayo bakutangirwa school fees nizisoboka okugenda omaiso aisomero eri kusangibwa Nyakibete mairo 3 okuruga Masindi town Masindi Kafu Road ba class yokukwata ku ruhano omutwe kumanya ebikusinga otera hasimu 0-4-5-8-3-2 rundi 0-3-2-9-4-3-6-0.
It is a very good evening once again, our viewers of Elkem TV. Thanks for coming back onto the site of Elkem TV. My name is Aban Brown, onto the site of Agafiire Wiki every single Friday from the hours of 5 to the hours of 6. Right now, we're actually moving to the last story and we get out of here. And I appreciate you for actually kept your eye on and following the show and what is happening onto the country. You know, this very week we actually also saw the local council. Actually, we saw a bill coming in parliament by one called that is Magezi. Magezi brought, actually Minister Magezi brought about a bill that is actually still in the cabinet, but we expect it any time to be before the speaker for discussion, saying that they actually want to make an increment for local political leaders. Salary enhancement. You know, these local leaders, when we talk about local political leaders, we talk about from LOC 1 to LOC 5, in exception of the MOPs. Meanwhile, later on, we actually saw these people, the money that they used to get. You could find that the chairman LOC 1 would get 10,000, that is per month, and the chairman LOC 5 in the hierarchy would get 2 million. But this time round, they're saying that they want to make it at least 100% enhancement or increment. In that, if somebody has been getting 2 million, is able to get 4 million. In the political, still to the political wing, basing on to my analysts in the house, basing on to the stand of our country, Uganda, economically, we actually have debts that have actually tied our necks, and we're still battling to actually settle them down. We see Parliament, the cabinet of local government also coming up with a resolution of actually making an enhancement on the salaries of these local political leaders. Don't you see that we're actually getting to another problem, or actually making another challenge, giving another burden to the taxpayer? Because we're battling to pay the other debts, and currently another bill is coming in to make an increment on the what? On the salary. Don't you say that this one, and which will actually need a sum of around 56 point something trillion, is it billion? Yeah, a billion, to actually pay these workers on the 100% that will be made. Don't you see we going into hell?
No, not at all. One thing you have to realize, my friend, is that Uganda is not a poor country. It is not a poor country at all.
But we've been having challenges of debts.
Yes, that is true. Our problem is not debts.
Our problem is what?
Our problem is prioritization.
What do you mean? Prioritizing who in this?
Like, for example, we have a few people that are spending money extravagantly, unnecessarily.
Talk about them.
And yet, on the other hand, we are having people who are doing real serious donkey work, and then they are being paid peanuts. I'll give you an example. Look at, for example, the MPs.
Actually, they're getting around 40 million.
The members of parliament.
And whereby they say it's still less.
Exactly. An MP is living in the same economy like a councillor of the district.
Yes.
Who sits in a district council. Also to pass resolutions, to pass bylaws, to make all that work. By the way, they do the same work, these people. But now, my question is, how come there is that huge difference from 40 million to less than a million?
Less than a million. That is the chairperson eldest one, gets 10,000, and the MP is on 40 million. It is a very big range indeed.
That's a very, very, very huge range. Huge range. It's not necessary
sense, if you
at all.
also looked at the LOC5 and at the member of parliament, you find that the LOC5 takes the whole district.
Yes.
Is in charge of the whole district. And the member of parliament just have a constituency in the district. Like in Masindi, for example, we have three members of parliaments. That is 4 of them, because we have central, that is central. We also have from Ruli, we have from Bujenje, and there's also the women member of parliament. So 4 of them. But these people, each of them is getting 40 million. And the LOC5 that is taking the whole district is getting 2 million.
Yeah.
What is the logic?
The logic is this. You see, these MPs, they are handling a very sensitive organ of the government. I'm telling you, the power of the president also is in parliament. If, for example, the president wants to say that now I'm growing old, but the constitution says at this age I have to jump out, if he wants to touch the constitution, he has to have the numbers in the parliament.
That is true.
Yes. So that's just one example. But there are so many things that the president needs in the parliament. So, because of that, also inclusive is this point of money. You know, the parliament also, they're responsible for the funds.
Earlier on, I
budgeting.
remember in Psalm 2008 back, these people were around 28 million.
Yeah.
But just in a short span, I'm seeing these people running, doubling the money that they actually used to get.
Absolutely.
Running to 40 million. And you see somebody taking the whole district, getting 2 million. And whereby he has a lot to do. Moving back to chairperson LOC1, gets 10,000 per month.
A month. Now, this is again what I was telling you, that an LOC1 earning 10,000 a month, I think 120,000 a year, is not because Uganda, as a country, we are poor or we can't afford. No, we have the money.
What you're trying to tell me is that the president is actually looking at these top people, the people that are so close to him.
Exactly.
Because these are the people that pass out resolutions.
Absolutely. But also prioritization is important.
So when you prioritize these people, meaning order, whatever thing that you want to implement will be done.
It will be done. That's why, for example, when it comes to the budget appropriation, the MPs, they play a very important role in this. For example, if for example, as an example, if the president wanted money to do something, whether the country should know it or not, he still goes to the parliament. He says, please, this budget, can you please put this supplementary there? And still, the numbers are there. They will do it. So, because they also touch money, they are involved in cutting the national cake. He doesn't want to mess up with them.
This is the reason why they are highly paid.
They are highly paid because also they don't get tempted.
I can actually understand your point.
Exactly. So that also, nobody can easily come and influence their decisions. How much money are you going to give now an MOP if he's earning 40 millions, as you have put it? Will you come with your million? It will not work. So that's why he gave them the liberty. He says, you decide on your own. How much do you want to pay each other? Those guys, it is them to choose how much they do. It is true.
And right now, if you saw that what has been actually happening in Parliament, there's shameless actually members of Parliament that come out and say this money they're getting is actually less than what they actually
Absolutely. Now, just imagine when an MP goes through, when he has just gone through, he qualifies to get a brand new car, Do you know how much money they get him?
Are they given 200 million?
Yes.
200 million.
Formerly it was 300, but then I think because of
They made
COVID
some
in between,
deductions or
yeah.
whatever to
But still 200 for a car.
much money.
That is a lot of money. So again, this is what I was telling you, that a handful of individuals in this country, they are spending extravagantly, abnormally.
That is true. And this is to the top officials.
Yeah. Some other ones, for example, there are some in this country who are able to organize birthday parties. And the person will put it in Rwanda, he will put it somewhere in the Western Uganda, he will put it somewhere and just
in that sense, you find out that this is a taxpayer's money.
That's all
And
taxpayers'
the person
money.
that is down, the person that is hustling
Absolutely.
time after time, that is being wasted like nothing. I think His Excellency, the President, on this matter have to actually revise this.
And you see, once that goes unchecked, even you look at the parliament, we are having also so many of them. As you put it, for example, in one district, we are having how many? We are having 4. For what?
Yes.
All this now 4. How many districts do you have? Now I think right now I last checked when we are having 520 MPs.
Which is too much.
Wow. We've not talked about the ministers yet. All that is money. Imagine if we had a reasonable number of MPs to represent us.
All these dates are
All that
fluctuated.
money would cover
The dates. That
the
we have
dates.
in-
All that money would make sure we are having good infrastructure. This money, the balance of this money, would go to paying properly the LOC ones, would go to paying properly the councillors.
Meanwhile, as we actually winding up the show, I just have something last that I want you to talk about. We have seen chairpersons LOC 1s, moving them from 10,000 to 50,000. What is your take about this? Is it fairness? Because I see this money is still less for chairpersons LOC 1, based on the work that they do.
Well, in that case, bad is better than worse. So we have only moved from worse to bad. They have basically done nothing.
Yes.
But since it has happened, we congratulate the government, we congratulate the LOC ones. But you see,
actually it is still pending.
It is still.
We expect it to come in Parliament any time. And I'm so optimistic this resolution is going to be passed.
yeah, my humble prayers is that let it go through. Let these chairmen and chairpersons enjoy that 50,000. But it is also not enough, as you have put it.
It's true, yeah.
And remember, every time when a serving officer is not contented with the money he's getting, it is still the local person, the final consumer, is the one who is going to suffer. That is the reason why when you go there, you want maybe a recommendation. You just need a letter, perhaps of introduction. He's going to tell you, you have to pay for the stamp. You need to pay for the signature.
In that sense, I had an estimation, at least it could be around 300. And then they ignore these ones for giving out the letters
Yeah,
and the rest.
absolutely.
50,000?
Even when you're buying land, I'm telling you, the man makes
The
sure
10%.
he needs his 10%.
So it's not recommendable.
Yeah.
But in actual sense, here it comes in.
Because
the money they are getting.
I mean, if you let him survive, can he survive on 10,000 for a full month? Even if he was not married, can you eat 10,000 the whole month?
Impossible.
It's impossible. And yet, these are the people who are doing a lot of donkey work on the ground. You find one chairman, okay, maybe he has his committee. But
will the 10,000 be enough for the committee?
For all of them?
Because they only pay the chairperson. The committee is never paid.
Nothing. They are nowhere mentioned. And in fact, when you look at it, they are sacrificing also a lot. For example, you find they need offices. They have offices. And their offices are operating. You find they are renting in the office. Now, how about the reams of paper? How about the ink?
At the end of the day.
And then and you find him. People are constantly calling him. My wife, we are having a disagreement. This one is stealing my land. He's constantly
So you find
engaged.
them keeping all their time in ups and downs.
So they really deserve the pay. So if come the 50,000, congratulations to them. But we pray hard that it also jumps to some more bigger figures.
It is actually very true. Once again, our viewers of Elkem TV, I want to appreciate you one more time for actually kept onto the side of Elkem TV and always keeping it are the number one, following us every single Friday from the hours of 5 to the hours of 6. Meanwhile, just, we are timed out, and I employ just to have your last remarks for the viewers of Elkem TV, and we sign out of here.
Yeah, thank you so much, first of all, to the management of Elkem TV for always hosting me. But also, most importantly, I thank our audience, the people that have been with us since we started, and that always tune into Elkem TV to get these nice programs. And I also take this opportunity one more time to send my greetings to the chairperson of Masindi Deaf FC.
Yes.
The only football club
For the deafs.
for the deafs. They
In
don't
Munyoro-
talk, they
in
don't
Munyoro, in
hear.
Masindi.
In Masindi district.
Masindi, okay.
Yes, in the entire region of Western,
Yes.
there are only two.
Hoyman Masindi.
Hoyman
So it's
Masindi.
actually a pleasure.
Yeah.
Once again, allow me appreciate you for having kept it Elkem TV, and I appreciate you for always following the show. You're actually somebody so great for actually keeping following. Once again, I want to appreciate my producer Daniel. Thanks for actually being on the show and doing that great work. And one more time, appreciating the management of Elkem TV for having this very beautiful juncture to actually interact and give out the real things that are happening in the country, updating the universe on a variety of things that have actually make rounds all over. Meanwhile, thanks for actually being a great viewer, and this has actually marked the last Friday to this very month of March. And allow me say that we meet. That will be the next Friday. That will be in the new month of April. My name is Aban Brown, and I wish you a nice weekend and happy Easter as well.
Mukyala,
waitu
Madina Education Center olirabye?
Madina Education Center isomero muno mugenya karoraho kale likusikiriza muno owenkwonki onu nohagenda kutandikira kusoma
Ajja ti omwana akyayonka.
arayonka nasoma kandi nkugenda n'okuzala y'abandi basatu nabo basomera hano Madina Education Center.
Abaffe. Madina Education Center ng'otuuseeyo olabira ddala Madina eri ey'omu Middle East, naye essomero liri wano Nyakibe, Masindi Kafu Road.
Madina Education Center isomero ndigondeze lyabojo n'abaisiki na boarding primary school baina nursery section hamu na daycare section batera ekisika abaana barahumuraga harume byokuzanisa nka toys enungi muno.
Ate primary section nayo yamulembe nnyo, abasomesa batendeke bulungi, classes ziri zennyini, metron waali, dormitories nnungi zirimu n'emifaliso. Actually emifaliso bitabo, kalaamu